This is my most important, arguably, stream slash video, depending on when you're watching it, that I've made in a while. Because, look, the weekly candle that Bitcoin is currently trading is going to determine if we're entering into a bear market or not. And when I say weekly candle, what do I mean? What am I referring to? Well, I'm referring to the Bitcoin price chart over on the 1 week interval. And I'm referring to specifically this candle right over here. Over the past 2 days, I've been making content about why it's quite more on the possible side that Bitcoin is entering into an intermediate bearish continuation as opposed to a bullish upwards continuation. We made a video saying 10 reasons the Bitcoin bull run ends Monday. We made a video saying Bitcoin's bear market is starting. Brace for impact. Where the titles of these videos obviously don't tell the full picture, within those videos we went into many different reasons, many different charts on why it's just appearing to be more likely that Bitcoin ends up coming lower than it does end up going higher. I did a bit of an experiment with AI today. I went and asked Grok. I said, hey Grok, you're a very powerful model. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that Bitcoin is going to reverse upwards and it's going to proceed to creating new all-time highs? Or is it going to descend into the $70,000 range? I think his answer is going to shock you. So stay until the end. We're going to cover a lot of stuff on today's stream. The weekly candle will officially end in 13 minutes time. And I'm going to show you all the analysis that you need to know to be prepared for whatever the price action is going to present to us. And finally, we're going to go into our trading. We're going to go into whether if we should start to short Bitcoin rather than being long on Bitcoin. I made a mistake, guys. I was reducing my exposure into one of the positions I opened around here. But instead of reducing the position by about 25-30%, I fat fingered and I accidentally closed the whole position. So I just wanted to let you know it was a mistake. However, it's okay. We're still in the green amongst Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm going to take most probably a short-term trade, which is going to be try and catch the short-term bullish divergence that Bitcoin is creating on the lower time frames. I'm going to try to catch that. There's no CME gap at the moment. And we'll also go into the more macro and look at if we can open a short trade on the macro time frame and where exactly would it be a compelling place to be opening a short trade. That will also be mentioned and discussed over on today's stream. So if you want to get ready for some trading action, well, make sure to destroy the like button as you're coming in to the live show or as you're coming into the video, depending on when and how you're watching this. And make sure to go to the first link in the description of today's video to claim a wonderful bonus. It only requires you to bind your email address and phone number to your account to get a free $10 to $100 coupon over on weeks where you can start trading and also opening positions as you wish. Make sure to use the first link in the description down below. And I want to know how you guys are feeling. How is your sentiment? How is your opinion on the market? Clearly, we're still at extreme fear 10. This was at extreme fear 10 yesterday, and we're at extreme 10 today also. And I've never seen back-to-back 10 extreme fears. This is probably like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I've never seen 2 back-to-back extreme fear instances. All right. Now that the intro is over and done with, let's jump into the Bitcoin price action. 11 minutes left. 11 minutes and 15 seconds is going to be when this bull market's full integrity, I think, is going to be decided. So let's begin off with our first and most favorite macro analysis that we conduct, which is the weekly time frame, and we look at the 54 simple moving average. This was the moving average, and this was the chart that headlined my post that did get some quite good traction over on Twitter, the thread that we stated and the thread that we went over on yesterday's video. We said that Bitcoin is currently breaking below the 50/54 simple weekly moving average. And every single time we broke below this moving average, you went into a bear market. There is not one single instance apart from COVID. Okay, so I did not include COVID on purpose. because COVID was a black swan event. I don't think it counts. I really genuinely don't think it counts. This was a black swan event. It doesn't count. But every other time that Bitcoin broke below with just one weekly confirmation to the downside of the 54 simple moving average, it went into a bear market. Every single time. There's not one single exception apart from COVID, which we have disregarded. All right. So when you go to this chart, that is currently in 9 minutes and 50 seconds time. I really wanted Bitcoin to have a little bit of luck and maybe just reach the $100,000 level before ending off the week. I really did have some sort of hopium that Bitcoin would be able to do that, but clearly that didn't take place, and I knew that that wasn't going to take place. I just really wanted it to. But sadly, we are breaking below, and it's going to get confirmed in 9 minutes and 25 seconds time. Does this mean we're going to dump straight to my personal price target of the low 70s before? I mean, is it going to be a straight capitulation, then bounce to the upside? Is it going to be a capitulation, consolidation? Whoa, ChatGPT just opened up. I have no idea why he did that. But is it going to be a price movement downwards, consolidation, then move to the upside? Or is it going to be bounce to the upside and then move to the downside? That is the most important thing I would say that you guys probably want to know. And I'm going to just double check the chat if that is, in fact, what you want to know. Yep. Yes, I guess it is what you guys want to know. So perfect. We'll cover that first. We'll cover a little bit of the short term first, and then we'll cover the other macro indicators in a moment. So I want to dive into the 4-hourly time frame for Bitcoin. On the 4-hourly time frame, it's been quite berserk. You know, you had a bit of a head and shoulders, right? You broke below the head and shoulders. That started the massive dumpage that Bitcoin experienced. Following that massive dumpage, this is Bitcoin USD. This is the Trump tariff. So there's actually a wick all the way to about 102. If you go to the margin enabled spot pairs, you'll see it right there, right? That was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, catastrophic even. Bitcoin was able to rebound, bounce back to $115,000, but sadly, the bull and bear market support band was giving us a lot of resistance, and eventually, from finding resistance at the green band, you got another major rejection to the 54 simple moving average. This is where, historically speaking, Bitcoin, the 54 simple, if it is not able to hold above the bull and bear market support band, it goes down to the 54/50 simple moving average. At this level, you try to experience a bounce, and we have done so. We saw the bounce in August of 2024. This was post-Japanese yen carry trade. You bounced from that level. We predicted that this was going to be the bottom on the Cryptocat channel. We make videos daily, and we've been doing it for the past 4 years. We've done that, okay? So we saw that bottom, we moved to the upside. Then in April this year, you had the Trump tariffs, you consolidated, you created a double bottom. You were also bouncing from major prior resistance, turned into support right at that mark, and that's when we jumped into our long positions on weeks. Remember, if you want to prepare for the trading action that's about to be coming your way, make sure to go to the first link in the description down below to get free $10 to $100 coupon. Once you register with this link, bind your email address and phone number to your account, and then you can join in if you wish to do so on the trading action. All right, so that's why we opened along there. From a Bitcoin cycle comparison perspective, it didn't make sense for this to be the top of the cycle, and we were just on support. It was looking good. Also extreme fear in the markets, but from a cyclical perspective, this couldn't have been the top. It just couldn't have been the top. It wouldn't have made sense. So we decided to jump into long positions, and that was a good decision at the end of the day. We were quite happy with that decision. Bitcoin eventually went to 126,000, and that could have actually been the top. The reason is when you go into the state of the cycle, when you look at the halving events, we covered that. And I know I said we would look into the short term. So let's actually look into the short term. I know you guys want to know the short term. So very short term, Bitcoin has been coming down a lot. I think we've identified that. We've lost the 54 simple, which was a very important level. And as soon as you broke below the very important 54 simple moving average, Bitcoin tumbled down and it hit 92.8 just 2 hours ago, 1 hour, 2 hours ago. So now we're trading at 94.46. But what's quite interesting is what I mentioned at the beginning of this stream was that there is a RSI current bullish divergence. So if we bring up the RSI, oh, I already have it. Great, we can remove this one. There's a little bit of a bullish divergence. Now, I don't usually pay too big of an attention to these bullish divergences. I don't, because I don't like to trade short term so much. It's not just a thing. It's just not a thing that I do. But I want to give attention to this specific bullish RSI divergence, as I think Bitcoin is due for a little bit of a bounce. I think we are definitely due for a little bit of a bounce. It's not 100% guaranteed. Nothing is ever 100% guaranteed. But you look at the fear and greed index, you're at extreme fear. 10 yesterday, 10 today. Last week was also extreme fear. Last month was also extreme fear. And you look at the max time frame of the fear and greed index, and every single time that Bitcoin entered similar ranges, I mean, I don't think we came so low to 10, but look, you've been at the 10, 8 levels only in the bottom of the bear market in 2022. 14th of June, 2022, you were at 8. And if we go to the price action, and if we take a look exactly what Bitcoin was doing in June of 2022, you're going to have to come down to the levels that we've not seen in a very long time. So this was August, July, June. Okay, this is going to be June. This whole period was between like 15 to 8 on the fear and greed index. And then you got a bounce. Of course, you decided to go lower eventually, but the important thing is that you got to bounce. Like, sentiment absolutely capitulated at this point. And to me, it does make sense that in the short term, we do try to see a little bit of a bounce. Hence, I'm not going to open shorts immediately. Well, maybe I open a small one and then I add to the short position as the price of Bitcoin goes up. That could also be a strategy I implement. I'll need to think about that, and maybe I can bring up my Pionex bots, because on Pionex, I did do a tutorial video on Pionex last week, and maybe on Pionex we can do something interesting with the bots. So give me a moment. I just thought about this, because if we want to DCA into a short position, why not do it on Pionex? Okay, and then we can do it on weeks also. Email. Yep, I'm just going to input my password. In the meantime, guys, if you destroy the like button, that would be very, very appreciated. There's so much we need to go through, and the weekly candle closes in officially 5 minutes time or 3 minutes time, and we need to catch that weekly closure. That's the whole reason why we're live, and we're going to catch it. Don't worry, it's going to happen. I'm almost done. Almost there. Just going to do 2FA, and I'll be almost done. Okay, sign in. 2FA. Boom. And we're in. Awesome. Let's check out the bots. Do we have a Bitcoin bot? Yeah, we can do another Bitcoin bot. So we'll do another Bitcoin bot. I want to catch the weekly closure. So we have 1 minute and 50 seconds left. 1 minute and 50 seconds left. Listen, I'm going to do something interesting. Things got interesting because I remembered we can do Pionex spots, so we can DCA into a short position. I'm going to do that. I'm very likely going to do that. I think in the short term, we can see a little bit of a rebound and try to hit the 54 simple moving average again. And from there, see a rejection. I think that's possible. And tomorrow we'll tell and paint a bigger picture. I'm going to do the positionings. Just give me a moment. I want to cover the weekly candle. And I think we need to jump into the macro. I know you guys wanted the short-term analysis, but it just makes more sense if we cover the macro time frame first. So 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining, unless Bitcoin is magically able to pump to crazy astronomical levels like $100,000 in 60 seconds, then sadly, it's going to end up closing below the 54 simple, and not just below the 54 simple only. It's going to confirm a lot of bearish signs, and it's going to close below very key lines of support, and just many things in general. All right. It's not just the 54 simple. It's one of the most important technical indicators that I'm focusing on, but it's going to validate the bearishness of many other things simultaneously too. 30 seconds, guys, 30 seconds. Can Bitcoin magically pump to over 100K? Maybe, guys, maybe if you destroy the like button, maybe Bitcoin will try to pump over $100,000. Just maybe. It's possible. Now it's getting very impossible. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's over. All right. Well, that sucks, doesn't it? That's absolutely horrible. Yeah. Bearish crossover. Bearish crossover in the daily, there's the death cross. That is 100% confirmed. The death cross is confirmed. Just checking Twitter also. The death cross is 100% confirmed on the daily. But the breakdown is also 100% confirmed. So this is one. This is one thing that we have the confirmation. Another thing that we have the confirmation is a break below the EMA ribbons. I'm going to highlight this. So this is the EMA ribbon indicator. It compiles a bunch of exponential moving averages into one. We can check the inputs. So you have 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. And these are all exponential moving averages. You can go back into Bitcoin's price history, and this is something that I didn't actually mention on the thread because somebody was saying, okay, you didn't mention the EMA ribbons on the thread. This is another good one, and Chris Crypto was talking about in his video this morning. Look, in all the parts of this parabola, we were able to bounce to the upside without breaking below the EMA ribbons. This one in September 2023 was a bit of a different situation because here you were flipping the bearish EMA ribbons into a bullish EMA ribbon. This was the beginning of the bull markets. So us being below there doesn't really count. But I can show you other examples, right? Here, yeah, you breached it, but it wasn't a significant breach. You can see right here that this is a pretty significant breach with the moving averages starting to collide into each other at that point. I know it looks similar here. And the only case where we don't dramatically fall any further is if Bitcoin this week is able to rebound immediately back into 102. Then you can make the argument that, okay, this breach is invalid and we're going to now see a pump to the upside. And it brings me to, and I want to talk about this, okay? I know it feels like I'm going all over the place with the long term and short term. But here is what I want to show you. We do have that death cross. I'm going to make a video later on in the morning. It's currently 4 a.m. and my mind is a little bit, I'm quite tired, but we're doing our best. We're making sure to do our best. We got the daily death cross. The death cross, it took place. It happened. All right. So the daily death cross, it happened. It took place. When you go to prior points in this current parabolic cycle, the death cross marked lows. On the death cross, you mark the low and then the price action went upwards. Death cross, you mark the low here, and the price action continued going upwards. Death cross marked the low and the price action started going upwards. So here we have a death cross. The only point where death crosses don't mark the low is when the bear market is beginning. So here you have the death cross, you see a bit of a rebound, but then you plummet into a bear market, and that's the transitory phase from bull into bear market. Now we have a death cross, okay? We have a death cross, but I'm quite confident that this death cross is going to lead to price action, at least trying to go towards or near the point of death cross. The thing that happens with big moving average crossovers is that it acts like it acts like a magnet. It magnetizes price to that point of crossover. So if we keep that in mind, and then we go into the 4-hourly time frame, and we keep in mind that there is a bit of a bullish divergence here on the 4-hourly time frame, right there. It's a very small one, but it's right. It's there. There's definitely a bullish divergence. So those are two things to keep in mind of. And then if you jump back into the weekly, you have the 54 simple. Yes, it's been breached, but we know that from the bull and bear market support bands, these two will eventually come to a crossover. Those two crossovers will also lead to price likely trying to make its way into that point of crossover. But after seeing that retest, whether if it's going to be at 101, 102, or if we try and make it towards the 107, 108s, I am a believer of that retest going into and leading to a greater correction, right? I think price may see that retest into those moving averages. And then following a retest, we see a further correction to the downside. On the RSI, we've lost the 44 mark. That's confirmed to be lost, and we've never done so in these points. But here's the deal. If Bitcoin is not able to see a reversal to the upside and we come straight down, the target is going to be the 77 mark. If we do a Fibonacci retracement from the bottom of the cycle all the way to the top of the cycle, I know we have a golden pocket between the 54 and 60, but that's just too big of a dip to expect. At the 0.5 level, a very important mark for Bitcoin, we're at 70K. So I think the 70K region, the low 70s, is where Bitcoin ends up probably coming to the downside. Do we see a retest to these moving averages first and then we see the drop, or do we see the drop straight away? That's going to be the question. But with my trading, this is what I'm doing. So this is the important part, because we're going to do some trading here and I want to open a specific position that will capture a potential bounce upwards and then also capture the downfall that I expect to happen following a bounce into those points of crossover. All right, so this is what my plan is. In the short term, I mean, it sucks to do it because now you have the bearish crossover confirmed. So I'm double thinking it. Do I open a small risky long position, a very small one, just to capture a movement to the upside and then do a limit short? Or do I just go with a limit short? I'm quite certain I'm going to do a limit short. So let me do that now. Let's do the limit short and then we'll think about if I should do that degen long position and betting the farm on the bullish RSI divergence and the fear capitulation we have. I'll give that a thought. I'll give that a second thought, but I want to definitely go into a limit short position. And the limit short position is going to be that 54 simple, which also collides with very important support of the 100K level, of the 101 to 100K level, 100K being very important psychological. It's a very important psychological price. It also collides with now resistance, right? So at that mark, I want to open a few limit short positions. If we see that bounce, I think it's going to be to over there, and then we continue falling into the low 70s. So I'm going to go to my weeks account. I'm going to adjust my leverage on my short from 2x. I want to go up to 5x, okay? And then I want to do a limit order. We set at 101. But I'm going to split it into 3 different orders. My first order is going to be at most likely the mid 99, so the 99.5-ish territory. Let's go to the weeks chart and reconduct the analysis, because on different exchanges, there's price discrepancies. So let's go here and move that down. So those low wicks are actually 98.9 on weeks. And I can bring it a little bit up to capture that wick. So that's 99.5. All right, that's going to be my first limit order. And then we can add the 54 simple moving average, simple, moving average. That's going to be simple. And we do settings. We do 54. And I want it to be on the weekly time frame. Source. Yeah, I don't think we can do too much on the weeks chart, sadly. Okay, we'll do one position at 99,595. 99,595. And I'm going to keep these open for now. And most likely I'll do take profits if we see that rejection from these levels that I'm drawing. 99,595. No, that's going to be for the limits. 99,595. And then amount of USDT, we have about $1,200 left in this trading account, which we started with 5K. So let's go, if we do 3 limit orders, I'll split it up into 3. I'll use the $1,000. So let's do 350 times 5 is going to be 350 times 5. And then I can increase the leverage once we get the confirmation of the rejection. And in my personal trading portfolio, after the stream, I'm going to do something similar too. 350 times 5, 1750 is going to be the total amount with leverage. That's going to be open short. Liquidation 119 is okay. 5x leverage, confirm. So there is going to be my first limit order to jump into a short position. The second short position I'm going to open is going to be at the 101-200, and that matches with the 54 simple. Now the 54 simple is at 102.94, and then we'll do, I guess, the final short at the 102. Okay, that makes sense. So we'll do another one at 101-200. That captures these wicks, that wick or that candle body, and also this candle body, including these candle bodies. 101-201, 101-201. Amount of USDT will also go 350, 3500s. I'll keep it the same. Use margin 5x. Oh no. Did I not do the math correctly? 350. Yeah, I didn't do the math correctly. Apologies, guys. No, that's correct. 1750. 1750. 101-201. Shorts, liquidation price 121. Use margin 350. Confirm. There we go. And then the final one is going to be the 102. 102, we said it was the exact 102 level. So 102 is going to be here. 102, yeah, let's do 102, 300. And we'll do the final 350 at that mark. So here we go. We have 3 limit orders to jump into a long or short positions. And that's going to try and catch a bounce and then a rejection. And at those points, depending on at which one of those we see the rejection, I'm going to be taking profits on the rest of my long positions. I hope that made sense. Right, I'm going to check the chat now to see what you guys are saying. The guy who couldn't do that without it. I'm sorry, dude, it's 4 a.m. My brain is barely functioning. Give me a break. I apologize. I can usually do mental math very well. It's just this is an exception. All right, so those are shorts. And bear in mind, this could change. Okay, so it's very important you stay tuned with this channel. We make videos every single day. And if it does appear to be the case that Bitcoin penetrates those levels and decides to pump higher, let's say into 107, which is where the bull and bear market support is, then I will likely take out 2 of those positions and move them up higher to capture a better DCA. So if we do those changes, then I'm going to do them here on this channel. So make sure that you're alert and you're watching every video because markets change. And when markets change, the analysis and trades change. And I'm here every single day to bring you the best and quickest TA possible. So make sure to follow the channel and subscribe. We had 60,000 subscribers. Guys, I was going to get around to doing a special video today, but I couldn't. Tomorrow, I'm going to film the 60,000 subscribers special video. So thank you so much for giving me 60,000 subscribers. It's the most unbelievable thing I can think of. Obviously, like this was my dream and whatnot, but I'll do that emotional gratitude video tomorrow. And I think it's very important to do those videos because it reflects my genuine thoughts and feelings. But thank you all so much for 60,000 subscribers. It means the world. And I'll express my gratitude in further detail on a dedicated video tomorrow. I promise you. We hit it 60,000. We did 60,000 today. It was quite remarkable. It was very, very remarkable. So the shorts are set. If you want to do a similar thing or if you want to short at different levels, then you can do so using the first link in the description down below. It's going to give you a nice $10 to $100 coupon for just binding your phone number to your account. And that's it. Like email, phone number to your account. You get that coupon and you can use it in your trading. There's pretty cool deposit bonuses in addition to the free $10 to $100 coupon. I'm just checking Pinex and I'm thinking if we should do a bot here for Pinex. So current symbol, we do have something that's running and that is a Bitcoin long bot, but not too big of a fan of that bot at the moment. What we could do is we could do the similar strategy, or maybe I leave a bot. I leave the bots for tomorrow. Maybe I leave the bots for tomorrow for the Musho channel. That's what I'll do. For now, this is fine. I think the week's position is okay. It's sufficient. And if we see that correction, that rejection from those lines, then we will jump into shorts automatically on weeks. Now, look, the weekly structure is bad. We covered how bad the weekly structure is. But every single time we break below the 54 simple, you do see a little bit, you do eventually see a rebound into the point of crossover, right? And that's getting close to, in the last cycle, was very close to the exact price action that Bitcoin fell through the 54 simple moving average at. A similar event took place in the cycle before, in 2018. This was the level you broke the 54 simple. It was 7457, and then you actually retested a little bit higher than from that level and ended up going lower a few weeks later. And in the Genesis cycle, you didn't actually see that retest. And because you didn't see that retest in the Genesis, not that I look at the Genesis so much, I'm just considering, do we just jump into a short position just to be in a short position now? That's what I'm contemplating. And I think it makes sense. We don't have a CME gap to the upside. We only have a CME gap to the downside. The weekly has been confirmed bearish. We've broken below critical lines of support, which I can show you too. We've broken below this line of support. This line of support has officially been broken to the downside. You've also officially broken to the downside from this line of support. This line of support. And this line of support, you know, they all held, but we've officially broken below here. What else did we cover that I can mention from the last video? If you go to the monthly time frame MACD. The MACD is now officially crossed bearish as well. That's official. Well, no, not yet. It needs the month to end. I think I'm going to go into a short now as well, just to be in a short. We'll do market price 350. What's my liquidation going to be? Liquidation is going to be 112. I can't change it now. It's a hard one. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Should I jump into a short now as well? I'm not betting against. I know it feels strange to bet against Bitcoin. I know it feels very strange. I know, I get it. Like, I've been speaking to my friend over dinner just about like 5-6 hours ago. I've been saying, yeah, like the issues we have being Bitcoiners is that I know you can make money when price is falling, and when price is pumping, like, you can make money as a trader. You can long or you can short. But the thing is, we all love Bitcoin so much, and we believe in Bitcoin's longevity. We believe in this industry. We believe that it's going to do better and better and better. So when you start to bet against the thing that you think is going to do very well in the long term, it just feels weird. It feels a little bit strange. That's what I was trying to explain to my friend. And they were like, yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. So I hate shorting Bitcoin. It feels weird doing it, but like, we're traders at the same time, you know? And I think I mean, I would say I'm a Bitcoin maxi over a trader, to be honest, but because I do hodl a lot of Bitcoin and I accumulate, but we do trade also. And I think we need to separate both of those things from each other. So when we separate those things, Bitcoin clearly looks bearish, and Bitcoin clearly looks like it's going to reach the low 70s again. Doesn't mean I'm selling all of my spot Bitcoin. It's not. It doesn't mean that I'm selling all my spot Bitcoin. It just means that from a derivatives angle, I can take a different approach, right? I know it feels strange, but I think I want to jump into that short now also. What do you guys think? How fast sentiment changed from Pumptober to Moonvember. I know, dude. It's horrendous. You can have many buckets of money with different strategies. Exactly. 100% correct. Limit short at 94,458. Yeah, okay. You guys are saying go short. I think I need to listen to my audience. I've never been in the 5-minute time frame before. That's a lie, but it's been a while. There's quite some good Bitcoin volatility. I mean, 4 a.m. volatility, insane. Never traded at these times. I'm usually sleeping. Let's zoom out. 15-minute time frame. You know what this reminds me of? If you jump into the 15 minutes, can't believe I'm doing this, but if you go to the 15-minute time frame, you know what this reminds me of? This current price action reminds me of the price action from here, where Bitcoin came down. You had this sort of low created, you saw a consolidation, and then you dropped. Look, Bitcoin came down, low created, consolidation, and now you're seeing the drop. That's what it's reminding me of. Did we have a bullish divergence there? Curious to see if we had a bullish divergence there, 1 hourly. That was the low. Well, you didn't. But now we do. Don't want to try and catch a falling knife. I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to long this because it's a bit risky, but feel free to do so if you want to. But I am going to place another short at about the 96,500 is what I'm thinking. Do you really believe we're in the same market as last cycle? Well, the only difference is the amount of liquidity that's been injected. We just have much less liquidity compared to the last cycle. But I do believe that I do believe that we're in a very similar technical structure. Okay, here's the thing. I've made up my mind. We have the death cross, all right? We have the death cross. I think the price will rebound. But I'm not going to go long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep with these shorts for now, and we can reassess, all right? So this is all that I'm doing. I've made up my mind. I'm not too sure about the short position right now. I'm going to enter if we see a rebound into those 3 levels, all right? That's my final decision for now. Tomorrow that could change. But for now, I'm going to keep with this. For now, I'm keeping with this. And if we see that rebound, then I'll take profits on these positions that I open at 77, etc. That's what I'm going to do. If you disagree, please let me know in the chat. It was quite interesting. I made Grok do an experiment. I said, Grok, I have a question for you. Looking at Bitcoin's price chart, what scenario is likelier? A, Bitcoin reverses upwards and we proceed to create a new all-time high, or B, it descends into the $70,000 range. And Grok said, based on current data, Bitcoin at 103K, which it's clearly not, scenario A appears likelier. Institutional buying, regulatory tailwinds, and predictions from sources like JP Morgan outweigh bearish cycle warnings. And the thing is, my issue with Grok is that, first of all, not only did he get the price of Bitcoin wrong by like a few $1,000s, but also his biggest factor for why Bitcoin is bullish was JP Morgan's prediction. And we know that JP Morgan is the least liable source to say if Bitcoin is bullish or bearish. Right? Jamie Dimon is no different to Kramer or Capo. So I'm not giving it too much credibility. I don't think Grok is the way to go for our trading here. But I thought it was quite interesting. Saylor is buying, or Saylor bought some more Bitcoin after all the controversy of did he sell, and the controversial lifeboat picture where Saylor is escaping away from the main ship in the lifeboat. Obviously, the ship is fiat and the lifeboat is Bitcoin, but it's not so clear. And it just came perfectly at the same time where Strategy were shifting their wallets. So it created some confusion. But it's good because, well, now Saylor has announced that they've officially bought more Bitcoin, or we know that that's what it means. And tomorrow we'll find out the sum. Also, we have good news from a fundamental basis. The US is planning to finalize a trade deal with China before Thanksgiving. That's also a cool thing. Hopefully we'll give some maybe short-term bullishness and the market doesn't change my intermediate bearishness. I saw another indicator called Supertrend, and I used to use Supertrend in my TA quite a bit. And apparently Supertrend has flipped bearish. Oh yeah, it has. Oh boy. Oh blimey. Look at where, look, oh, this is horrible. This is really bad. Look at the last time it flipped bearish, right there. And see, you did see a pull back up and then a drop. Yeah, that was not good either. You pull back up and then you saw the drop. That one wasn't the best of calls, but that wasn't the end of the bull market. That was the end of the bull market. We go to log scale. Yeah, super trend is flipped bearish too, man. This just looks awful. Saw a pump. So when I look at the price, now it looks awful. It looks really bad. But I think the probability of a bounce to the upside is higher than, I mean, in the short term at least. And then we see a dip to lower price levels. What are you guys saying? Diamond is politics. JPM sucks. Yeah, I know. JP Morgan sucks. This super trend is bothering me a lot. Don't like that that's bearish too. But you guys see, right? Like we can't make many bullish cases for Bitcoin. This is what's horrible. You can try, but you just, apart from the short term, seeing that bounce into the death cross, I don't see anything else that we can really come up with. And also the 4-hourly bullish divergence. Apart from that, it just looks abysmal. MicroStrategy looks horrible too, by the way. We've spoken about it. Looks really bad. This is what I'm expecting for MicroStrategy. Yeah, we're seeing that short-term pump. That's nice. We're seeing the short-term pump. I'm happy I didn't ape into a short position. I'm going to wait for that retest, and then I'm going to ride it to the downside. That's the plan. But nonetheless, quite bearish. Anything else we want to go over? Check. Don't think I do. Honestly, I'm very tired. I'm very tired. You can tell. I think you guys can really tell that I'm tired. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm gonna go to sleep because I don't feel so useful this tired. It is 4:30 a.m., dude. It's like, and I didn't like sleep in the day either. What I'll do is I'll sleep, and then tomorrow, obviously, I'll do the update again, and I'll probably have a bit of a clearer mind and a more healthy mind. Now I can't even do mental math, and that's concerning. Guys and girls, thank you for watching. I'm gonna end it here. Okay, Ethereum. Maybe we can do a quick look into Ethereum. Ethereum is bouncing from the 54 simple. Let's remove those 54 simple. I think Ethereum will consolidate at this level for some time and then give its final decision. But Ethereum also looks pretty bad. Ethereum also looks pretty bad. And I think we will, in the intermediate, go down to the 2.9 areas. 2.7, 2.9. Ethereum also has a bullish divergence. And this bullish divergence, I just can't decide if I want to take the risk or not. It looks good. It does look good. I think we could see a bounce to 3.2. So guys, if you want to trade this bullish divergence, I'm not, okay? I'm going to stay away. But if you want to take this bullish divergence on both Bitcoin and Ethereum, you can do so with the first link in the description down below, okay? So I'm going to run, go to bed, and then tomorrow, fresh mind, we'll come back and do the analysis. I hope that sounds good. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next video very soon. I promise you in a few hours time. All right. So guys, take care. And as always, bye-bye.